Alright guys, welcome back to another operaomnia video where we are going to talk about Terra, who is going to be receiving an LD, a BT, and a rework alongside with the Act 3 Chapter 2 Part 1 release. We're going to talk about in depth of what changes she is getting, what new things she is getting to her kit, and then of course I will be giving my final thoughts and opinions on how I see Terra in operaomnia. Also, alongside with this in depth, I do have some gameplay recorded off of my JP account, so that way you know exactly what it is that I'm talking about when I start reading off what exactly she gets in her rework, and then of course her LD and BT weapon as well. So as always, if you do enjoy the video, make sure to hit that like button, subscribe for future content. Let's go ahead and jump into it and let's talk about Terra's upcoming rework, LD, and BT weapon release. So first off, we are going to talk about Terra's rework. So Terra's rework with her skill 1 ability, which is called Meltdown. Her Meltdown Extend gave her an additional 2 uses now with a max usage of 8. When you are using Meltdown Plus, the Brave hit count was increased from 1 to 4, the Stolen Brave Overflow was increased to 150%, and the total Brave potency was increased from 150% to 360%. Now when you are using Magic Meltdown Plus, the Brave hit count increases from 2 to 4, and the total Brave potency increases from 240% to 440%. Also, whenever you are attacking a single target, the damage has been increased as well on that, so it was increased from 50% all the way up to 80%. Now with her skill 2 ability, her Meteor Extend gave her an additional 2 uses with a max usage count of 8. When you are using Meteor Plus, the Brave attack becomes an AoE Brave attack, and the Brave attack against single targets is increased by 60%, and it did get an increase to Stolen Brave Overflow up to 150%. When you are using her Magic Meteor Plus, it becomes a 5-hit AoE Brave attack plus single target HP attack. It increases the Brave by 20% of the HP damage dealt on the first attack, and then it follows up with a 10-hit AoE Magic Brave attack plus a single target HP attack, with the overflow also increased up to 200%. Now her LD ability is her bread and butter and what makes Terra shine in many fights. Now her LD ability, which is called Chaos Wave, which has a max usage of 4. It increases her own Brave by 160% of her own attack, and it is an 8-hit all magic Brave attack plus splits HP attack dealt twice. It recovers Brave by 30% of the HP damage dealt after the first attack. Brave damage increases by 70% when attacking a single target with 140% Stolen Overflow. She gives herself a 4-turn buff called the Loving Heart, and it increases her magic stacks by 5. No action delay, and it extends her own active buffs by 2. Now while Loving Heart is active, it does not increase turn count. It nullifies action delay. It does not consume use count, so you are getting 4 free abilities after you use her LD ability, and that of course excludes some abilities. And it does not consume her magic stacks. Also, with the Loving Heart buff, you do get an increase to her magic attacker by 20% and a 30% increase to her HP damage up. Now let's talk about her BT ability, which is called Trans Ultima. It is a 10-hit magic single target Brave attack plus HP attack dealt twice, with the maximum Brave damage limit increased by 50% or up to 14,998. The maximum HP damage limit is also increased by 50% or up to 149,998. Her burst effect is a 10-turn party-wide burst effect, and what that gives to everybody in the party is Stolen Overflow increased by 30%, gained Overflow plus 20%, HP damage dealt plus 20% to targets that are in the break status, HP damage limit increased by 20% or up to 119,998, and it restores Brave by 50% of the Brave damage dealt once per turn.
終わりにする。みんなを守る力を。やっ、行くよ、究極の光よ。さよなら。
Now with her call abilities, her regular call, which is the Magic Meteor Plus, all that does is the enemies do receive a 20% 4-turn speed down. With her LD ability, which was the Chaos Wave, the caller gets a 3-turn 20% magic attack up, and it restores Brave by 50% of the total Brave damage dealt. So my overall thoughts on Terra. Terra is a magical lightning at this point, you know, with her LD ability basically giving her 4 free skill usage to her skill 1, skill 2, and C65. You can easily take advantage of that to shave down an enemy. You can dish out a bunch of damage, even though Terra with her skill 2, which is what most likely people will be using, her skill 2 is what does the most damage between her skill 1 and skill 2. Skill 1 is pretty much there, like if you want to implement that defense down debuff that she has, but overall though, I think most people will be using her skill 2 to get that easy, what, 250k every single time that you use it. So that's basically almost like a mil of free damage that you're doing that does not hurt your ability usage, does not hurt your turn count, anything like that. So I mean, overall, and then of course with her rework, you know, she got that increase in potency, which is what she desperately needed. Before her rework and before she got her LD and BT release, hardly nobody used her. And that was, you know, it was for obvious reasons. I mean, like, her potency was just not there, but she got it now, especially since she is doing multiple magical brave hits. It really helps her out in dishing out that damage that you want to get. One good combination with using Terra is definitely going to be Call. So Hope, if you did manage to get his LD ability, his LD weapon, you can take advantage and combine that, because we are going to be getting into Lufenia fights where a lot of these bosses will be resistant to any type of imperil that you try to do. So if you did manage to pick up Hope's LD weapon, you did a great thing, because you will have that magic resist down, which is one of the 2 things that the bosses cannot avoid. So you will be able to dish out that extra damage, and you won't have to worry about having any type of that, or not entirely 100%, but like it'll be less of a headache in terms of the amount of damage that you will be doing with Terra. Then of course you have other LD calls. You have that Jax LD call. You know, later in May we will be getting the Ferris LD call, which has that strong defense down and a few other things that she has as well, and that will also help out with Terra's attack. Now her BT effect's not, it's all right, but it's not something that I personally need, because I mean, I already have like what, 1 or 2, maybe 3 BT effects that I can use for that HP the HP damage up and a few other things. So it's not something that I need entirely, unless I want to pretty much just get a free skill usage and I want to have that 10-turn burst effect. But overall though, after she was not synergy in the events, yeah, so like basically 2 weeks after her initial release, whenever we get the new BT, which would be Garland, which is from my personal experience, is the one that I am most hyped for. You know, she does have her uses here and there in terms of, like, say, not letting the enemy attack. So a good option alongside with Terra would be Delayers, or pretty much Garland. Garland is a great addition combined with Terra. Actually, that BT effect from Garland combined with Terra would really help out Terra a lot in terms of, you know, easily capping out in damage. But in general though, Terra does have her uses here and there in a few Lufenia fights, but if you are needing a magical DPS, Terra's not a bad option at all if you do manage to get at least her LD weapon. But if you do manage to get a BT weapon, then that is fantastic, because it'll help you out in terms of that extra little damage. That is, of course, if you don't spam her LD ability whenever you do have a BT effect, because it is a 10-turn party-wide BT effect and you don't want to use it on only Terra. You want to make sure that everybody else is taking advantage of that as well, because again, her LD ability, after you use it, you have 4 free ability uses, which is in turn consuming that brave, or excuse me, that BT effect. So you got to be careful on that. But overall, she's a strong magical DPS unit. If you're needing a DPS unit, she is not a bad option at all to be picking up, or at least her LD weapon. But let me know what you guys think. Let me know what you guys are going to be doing with Terra, if you're going to be pulling for her or not, and how do you feel about her rework and the weapons that she's going to be getting. But other than that though, like, subscribe, do all that good stuff. Thank you so much for watching, and I will catch you guys in my next video.